transition info session. So I know a lot of folks have some questions with things changing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If we could have the next slide. So the way it's going to kind of work today is we'll just briefly go through who movability is for anyone who may not be familiar, what TDM is and why we do that, and a quick program overview of what movability does, and then we'll get to the Q&A, which you all came here for. We can get the next slide. So Movability is the Transportation Management Association for the Central Texas region, and our mission is to build a community around people, not cars. And the strategy that we use to go about this is TDM, which stands for Transportation Demand Management. And so you'll see on the right of the screen is some of the tools that we use, such as public transportation, thus our conversation with CapMetro, but also, teleworking, car sharing, carpooling. We have a focus group coming up for that, and a variety of other strategies. And so we'll go a little more into detail in the next slide. So this is part of the why. As you can see on the far left image, that's 70 people on a bus. The middle image, 70 people on a bike. And then the far right image, 70 people or 70 cars. But actually, if you try and count, that's not even 70 cars because there's spatial limitations to that. And so that's a big reason why we try to encourage transportation that can be most efficient with the space that we have to work with. So we can get the next slide. So some of our programs, we have a variety of programs and they're ever growing, but some of our core ones include research, Get There Central Texas, mobility camps, best workplaces for commuters, and a wide variety of others. And we'll go into detail of just a couple of these. So one of our core services are our professional services where we can get really custom with whatever it is that we're wanting to look at, whether it's parking constraints or affordability for employees. We can do custom TDM communications marketing plans, analyze commuter surveys. We can do lunch and learn. So if you're wanting to help the rest of your staff learn about some of the things that we're doing, lunch and learns are a great way to go. So those are just some of the professional services that we do. And then if we can get the next slide. We also do research. So we've started doing an annual commuter survey, which is really exciting because the city has a goal of getting to 50-50 mode split by 2035. And so we're bringing in that survey to help, keep a benchmark on how we're doing with our progress. We get the next. Yep. And speaking of research, we are doing research very soon on carpooling specifically. I'm sure you are all very familiar with the construction that's coming our way. And so one of the strategies that we want to look at for mitigating the the congestion that will come with that is carpooling. And so wanting to understand the motivations and perceptions of carpooling so that we can really effectively bring that program to the region. So if you're interested, please feel free to scan that QR code and sign up. We also do mobility camps. Some of y'all may be familiar. These are really fun. We will essentially come to wherever it is that you are, whether it's your office or a school or maybe a social group. And we can take y'all out to a variety of fun places using transit. And it's really a great opportunity to kind of learn as you do and make it fun while you're doing it. So, going to coffee shops, happy hours, nature parks, lots of fun stuff there. So if you're a member, definitely ask about that. You get a free one each year. School pool is another big one that we have started recently. So we're still piloting the program. And essentially what it does is it allows parents to match with each other to carpool to school so that they can help share that responsibility and lower the amount of time that they're having to spend as that part of their commute, but also reducing the wait times at the schools themselves, which also improves the air quality because of the reduced idling. Of course, then there's Go Grant, wonderful grant program that provides up to $7,500 for small businesses and nonprofits who are wanting to do a variety of transportation projects specifically that help encourage sustainable, affordable mobility projects such as putting up a bike rack, doing a transit pass program, a van pool program. But we also work with organizations of all sizes to do mobility planning projects through this grant program. And again, if you remember what we just mentioned with the professional services, things like research and analysis, custom communications plans. Those are things that can come through Go Grant as well. And then, of course, there's MovePass. MovePass is what really ties me, at least, to CapMetro largely. And it's a program that Movability offers that helps with the administrative portion of doing the bulk purchasing and helping facilitate the Transit Pass program. Um, get the next slide. So if any of this interests you or you'd like more information, please feel free to reach out to any of us at Movability. We're happy to give you more details about our programs and yeah, and work with you in a variety of ways. So I think we can get the next slide. That brings us to the Q&A. So if anyone wants to kick us off with a question, feel free to drop it in the Q&A. Or I believe that you can raise your hand and we can call on you to speak live.
Well, first, I'd like to introduce myself if that's okay.
I'm sorry, Brady.
You're
Uh,
good. People may not know who I am. I am relatively new. I've been here for a year. My name is Brandy Moeller. I'm the Director of Revenue Affairs at CapMetro right now. So it is all night. It is nice to meet you all. I can't wait to see what questions you have for me. I know we have a few questions we're going to answer anyways, but bring it. I'm super excited about movability and all of the perks and benefits that it offers and love movability and highly recommend it. So what do you got for me? I'm hugely curious.
Hey there, Brandy. And Alex, I'm jumping on screen just for a second because I'm in the background running the Zoom. And for those who are in the audience, I want to bring your attention to the bottom of your screen. You have the ability to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, we can open your mic and we can bring you live on the air, just like you're on a radio show. So that way you can ask your questions live if you would prefer to ask them live rather than type them into the Q&A. And while we're waiting for you to raise your hand, I think, Alex, you might get us started with some questions that perhaps you have heard from other members as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the first question I wanted to start with is kind of a broad one. What inspired the transition from bike mark to Umo?
So inspiration's a good word. We're gonna actually go with necessitate. About a year and a half ago, we had a technical issue with our previous vendor. You can look that all up in the news. Can't really say much more about it, but we got to a spot where we needed a new fare facilitator. We had not yet been able to launch open payments, which is huge, right? And so we were on the hunt for a new one. We interviewed over four companies to try and get everything up and running. We selected Umo out of the four as they could get us up and running within the short period of time. Our previous vendor's contract was up as of early March, so we needed to move and move fast. So we had made the chance to switch to Umo. One of the things that I was excited about was that there were 78 other individual agencies that ended up having Umo there, and it had the chance for deep links, and there were a lot of things that we could do without having to have that customization. Though, believe me, I love customization. But this tends to be a little more cookie cutter, but that was because we needed to be able to, get to market quickly with this and make sure that we weren't going to lose a year, year and a half, 2 years of more service.
And how's that? Has it been living up to the expectations?
Absolutely. In fact, it has helped us in several different ways. In addition to the CapMetro for Business and with movability, we have several ILAs, which are interlocal agreements with like ACC, and we have one with UT. It has actually helped us get better ridership, whereas before we weren't able to actually tie everything together. This also is going to provide us, I have Dare to Dream, this one dream that we are going to get to one backend to rule them all so that we can pay for your service no matter where you're at, right? We may have to use an app for pickup that because of the scheduler, we need that reason. And or if you're part of accessibility, the same. They have a different app, and then we have the transit app. We're giving everybody a different way to come in and just interact with us and to ride with us, but we want to provide that one way to pay. Do I really want you to go in and put your credit card into four separate apps? Absolutely not. So this will give us an opportunity to kind of bring it back around, get to the one app to rule them all, and hopefully the one app to rule them all and the one back end to rule them all. Sorry.
For sure. Okay, cool. So what are some of the main changes and improvements that we can expect to see with the new system?
Faster validation. One of the main issues previously with our previous vendor, we were getting complaints from the buses that they just weren't validating, or you would stand there and you had to get the sweet spot to where your phone would work, or your card wouldn't tap, or whatever the case may be. So we have faster validating, faster boarding, which means less dwell time at the front. We're also able to issue and deissue, right? So sometimes if you picked up the wrong pass or whatever you have, or the amount of money that you have added, you added $150 and you only meant to add $1.50, we can go in and correct that pretty quickly. We also liked the ability to look at your transactions and see when you fare capped. I also really love the fact that whether I have my card or my app, I can get on and see that when I am fare capping, like, hey, you have done twice today. You met your fare cap. Everything's free from then, right? Like, same thing with the month. Really like that ability, whereas our previous vendor didn't really have that ability. It had no reader on it whatsoever. So the ability to do that. Also the ability for, I know it's a small thing, but I really love my rail guys. They were carrying these big, huge, clunky things to be able to, validate your passes and everything. Now it's just simply a handheld validator. And if you forget to pay for your pass on the way into the rail, they actually have the ability to sell right there easily, without having some of the back end issues that we were having previously. So those are the physical things. The other great things is we took the time to really design what that CapMetro card looks like. And I don't know if you guys have seen it. Would you like to see it?
Let's
Some
see
of
it.
you probably have seen it. If you have not, it is okay. It looks like this. And I am super proud because it is so Austin, right? Like we had our individuals, we had our Marcom team design this, and it is uniquely Austin and uniquely CapMetro. So we took the time to go ahead and move to a one card, right? We're kind of, and just to give you a background, right now we had before Umo, we had 58 different sets of physical passes. 58. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And when I got here, I was like, well, who does what? And how do we keep this? And how do we keep that? And with the inception of Umo, and since we have implemented all of this, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but we switched from this time-based passes to per ride pass with fare capping. We've gotten rid of 28 of them, so we are way down on that paper. It was also hugely important for us, right? We're Austin. We like to be ecological. So why would I want to continue to put those paper passes out there when we can simply use the digital passes and or that reloadable fare card that you can continue to reload and reuse and not chunk, right? So that's those upgrades. Hold on, where was I going with this one? Oh, the fare capping, much easier to get to, right? The loading, way easier to get to. So I really liked all of those things about it. And in the process, we decided to move right from that time-based pass, right? Because we were having such issues with like, oh, it started this day, it started that day. Right now, it's just easy to know when does my fare capping start? When doesn't it? It is calendar month to calendar month. Whereas right now, like if you have a paper pass, it is 31 days from that. Well, truthfully, is that great? Yes, we have, timed passes that do that. But what we were seeing is that individuals were paying way more than they needed to, right? So we felt like that was a barrier because you want to come in and you want to spend money to get onto Cap Metro. If you have to pay 41.25, but you're only going to ride 4 days, that's a steep price. But if we give you the ability to have that card and only use and pay for what you use, we felt like it was a much better deal for the individual, and we're hoping to encourage ridership with that. That was a lot. That was a lot for one question. I'm sorry, but it was not just like, oh, we just did this. It was thoughtful, intentional, and working with what we had, but also to streamline it and make it easy for you to pay with credit card, debit card, cash, however you want to pay.
Sure, that's awesome. Definitely some features I was not quite aware of yet.
Also, I got to put in a shameless plug for the Transit app. I do love me some Transit app. They have got really great trip planning. Not that Umo's bad. Please don't hear me when I say that. It is that Transit app is really awesome, and we're headed towards that one app to rule them all. Yes, Mr. Lonnie.
Hey there. I was wondering if Tap and Pay is coming, and when it comes, will you be able to track it for the CapMetro for Business clients?
So, two parts to that question. When is it coming? We are hoping in the next quarter. I'll tell you what the holdup is. Um, I will be honest with you, about once a week, I fire off an email that says, I'm really ready for Tap to Pay because you promised it to me. And so long story short, we have this brand new validator. That brand new validator, according to Fiserv, which is a federally funded backend provider, has to approve this to make sure that your PCI, your sensitive information, is safe and that this particular validator that we're using is accredited and ready to be used. Fiserv is taking a little bit longer than I would actually like them to. So we're waiting on one signature from some guy in Fiserv to get that done. As soon as that is implemented, it's not a quick turnaround. It's going to be about 2 months for Umo to get up and running. However, from what I am hearing, we will not know whose card has what. That is not what we are maintaining. You will get what's called a credit card token, right? So it will not be easy to associate who's got that card with this unless you have an account with us, right? So that tap to pay is meant to provide you with the anonymity that you need within reason, right? We're not going to offer monthly fare capping just because I don't want to maintain your credit card information for the entirety of the month. Also, the other 5 or 6 transit agencies that I talked to who did roll out and were able to get the tap to pay on open payments were having issues with the monthly and had to roll them back. So, yes, well, because if you get on one day and you tap with your credit card and the next day you tap with your debit card, if I don't know who you are, I'm not going to be able to say, "Oh yeah, you should have got the fare capping on that one." Right? So, that was the reasoning behind just the daily capping.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking about it was because of P cards. Like for example, here at Movability, we all have a movability card. So I could imagine a scenario in which a CapMetro for Business client just has a list of people who qualify and they're using their P card, and that way you're able to track that. But and they're in a particular discount category. But it doesn't sound like that's the direction you're heading.
Unfortunately, no. In fact, I was getting a sneak peek at how Cubic slash Umo has implemented it.
Yeah.
It is all I have vision for is a token. So like I can't even go searching for your credit card.
Mm.
It really I'm holding out hope for it just because the refund process really just makes me nervous in that. But also I really don't want my people having access to your credit card, right? So like I would love that there was a whitelist somewhere in there, but maintaining you and your credit card and your P card sounds like a horrible risk to me for you. So would I love it? Absolutely. And would it be nice? Absolutely. But is it feasible for me to do that for you and still protect your without having to pay my people tons of money? No, not right now, right? If Umo comes out with a different way to make it easier, absolutely. What I would encourage you to do is if that's what you really want, go ahead and get that account, right? So if you're just, and it just requires a phone number. So if you just have a phone number and your account is that way and you're putting money on it through your P card, which you could go ahead and put money on it, get the charge, send the P card charge in, and then just get your fare capping as you want to, right? So, and then if you don't use it, you don't lose it. Great
These,
question.
yeah, I think these are some of Movability's curiosities, but now I have some questions that I've gotten from several people. So I'll start with this one. A lot of people have been asking about the process. I know a few things have changed since Umo first launched to now. So if you don't mind, could you walk us through the process for a business to place an order? And I believe that we can provide screen sharing if you wanted to walk us through it on the screen.
That sounds great. Do you mind if I send you guys via the chat? I'm just gonna plump the marketplace in there just so everybody will have access to it. Let me go ahead and throw that in there. Uh, that is where you start. And so I'm going to go ahead and screen share if you don't mind. Walk you through it. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Can everybody see my screen? Wait, which screen? Can you see the one that says fair types? Or do you see my...
It
We could
says
see
fair
it.
types at the top.
Yes,
Yep.
there you go. Absolutely. Welcome to the CapMetro Marketplace. This is where you can come to order your passes. If you are part of CapMetro for Business, which Movability is, you would simply come in and hit, and you may not be able to see this right now, but this says CapMetro for Business. You would simply click on Shop Now, put in if you wanted a reloadable fare card, right? So there's a couple different ways to order. If you want your individuals to have that anonymity and you want to use the reloadable fare card, you can absolutely do so. You will need to order a fare card along with a fare card load. I'll explain what that means in just a minute. Or you can order a code. The code would be taken and put into their particular account. It would apply a pass for them and they would be able to use it. We have a cap of 6 passes at any one particular time, so that if you're purchasing that pass, we won't be able to go over 6 passes on any particular account. The card has a limit of $500. So what would happen is, and 6 passes, what would happen is if you want for the reloadable fare card or the code, it depends on you and how you want to distribute said code or card, right? We can do it any way you would like to. If you want to give them codes, you will simply come in here and get the Umo app code, click on it, tell us how many you want, and then we can send you out the code. Otherwise, if you want to get a card, right, you're a forced timeout. Let's just say we're going to get a card for Alex and Alex gets to get his card. So we buy a card for Alex, we load the pass onto it for Alex, we ship it to you, you give it to Alex, you maintain the serial number on the back of the card. You can then the next month, if Alex needs another pass, you can email us in this code on the back of the card and we can automatically upload that for Alex. So, several different ways to interact, but you would go here to Square, order what you would like. Remember, there's a discount at 10, I think it's 20, and then at 30. So you get your different discounts depending upon how much you order at any particular time, and that is already figured into Square. When it comes into Square, we then look at it. If it's a Umo code account, right, we will then send you a set of codes in XLS, excuse me, an Excel spreadsheet with all the codes that you will have in there, and we can look at those and give them to you, right? And then you would take them and you can distribute them via email, and it's one code per person. We don't just have one code, we have a code per person for you to distribute. I think that's it. But you would come in here, you would check out, and then we receive the order, and then we start processing it. Within 3 days, you should have it in your hands.
So that was my next question. So processing time is about 3 days.
It can be up to 3 days.
Up to three.
We like to get it out earlier than that. But
Okay.
some days in that transit store, it is way more stacked than we would like it.
And I just want to add or clarify one more thing. When you're placing the order, is it best practice to put the name of your organization into the section?
Absolutely. Let me show you what it looks like to go ahead and order. Let's just say I'm going to order a local monthly Umo app code. Just going to add this to cart. I'm going to check out where I could come in here and I say, okay, you can either add more items or not. Not a coupon code needed. You would continue to payment. And then you see here, over here is going to pop up a little add note. And this is the most amazing thing that Movability does for us. The last time they ordered, I believe it was for either for Ballet Austin or it was for Wild About Music, but they came in here and they put their name, right? Because it's asking you for your name and an email. But sometimes I don't know which agency you are from. If you do this, it will help us understand what your ridership is, right? And that's a question you had later. It'll help us identify. So how we have it set up is when you come and you say, hey, I need codes, we have buckets, for lack of a better word. It's called a program. Each one of you who is Apple, Google, Wild About Music, anybody who has an organization, we make you your own special program and give you the set of passes that you need within the program so that we can issue it, right? When we issue it, then it says, hey, I've issued 24 codes to Movability for this particular reason. What is the ridership? And we can track that per month. So then I would come here and I would say Movability, and then I would place the order and move forward.
Thank you.
That help?
Yeah, definitely. So another question we get a lot is about unused passes. What's the best way for employers to go about any passes they may have distributed to an employee but didn't get used? Things along those lines.
Okay, that is a great question, and I love it. Whereas the old vendor, we did not have nearly that insight. Now there is a surprising amount of insight. Now, I say that Umo has done a great job of allowing us to see what has been used and what hadn't, and I can give you a for instance here in just a moment. I'll give you a peek behind the scenes, and we can tell what has been used and what hasn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and move. This is not something you will see normally. This is this is the Wizard of Oz things. This is the man behind the curtain. So just showing you a little bit about that. But let me go ahead and show you that we have a program, and let's just pull up, let's see who book people. Okay. Uh, they have an amount where we have ordered single generated codes for them, right? So they have ordered codes. We have codes out there. If they have ordered in batches, I can come in here and look at the batch and how many codes are unused. So I can download this CSV again, like I sent you a CSV with your codes, and you can see which ones have been used and which ones haven't. Let me show you the difference. They just ordered these the other day. Let me open and show to you what it looks like. And you can see, hey, was this code redeemed or not redeemed when it was redeemed? So granted, that takes us having to send it to you. It's a 2-minute process, as you can see, but we're happy to help you in any way that we can until we can ask Umo to get this and make this readily available to you. This goes along with ridership. We don't have the ridership associated with this. I have what was redeemed. Now I can show you what ridership looks like in another space. And as well, with every program that comes along, something I didn't talk about because we haven't launched it yet is the merchant portal, right? So I can log in when each program has their own ability to log in as a merchant. But we haven't launched it yet, but there is an ability for us to pull a report for you to be able to see it. But there is an ability to look at who is, granted, this is behind the scenes. You can look at who has sold what and who has used what, how many passes have been issued. Ridership, as far as how many clicks have we taken on a particular code, I can't quite get to that level, but I can get to the level of who has ridden when. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
That helps us to see the ability to see used and unused passes. I know it's a little bit different with the ability to reclaim. So I guess what's your recommendation for those unused passes?
The The unused passes, I would wholeheartedly say, hey, once a month when I order, can you also ship me what codes haven't been used? Right? And then we can go back and retake down those and say, here you go. It's not going to be a pretty process, but we could ship back, here is what codes have been used and which ones have not. Yes, sir, Lonnie.
Yeah, I was hoping that you could reiterate that about the ridership data. So, so we need to make a request to you directly and then ask about ridership, and you'll send back a report.
Yes, sir. I'm about to show you. I will show
Okay.
you how that looks.
Okay.
I'm trying not to show you
So
too much behind the curtain, so I
no, I
but
understand that, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we can't pull the report ourselves. We need to ask. Okay.
Unfortunately, for right now, it absolutely is.
And have you been happy with the accuracy this time around? Because I know last year the readers were the whole problem, right? Siemens, etc. But are you happy with the accuracy of the readers versus the uh
The old ones.
yeah, like how they're comparing to the door data versus the reader data?
Absolutely. So we are having a 99% reader rate, meaning like it's actually more than that. That's the whole round number that they do. And what they mean by the reader rate is that's online readership, right? So we have about less than 1% that is offline, and that might be somebody who is in sitting over in maintenance waiting to get done. Now, one of the issues we were having with our previous vendor was if it went dormant and we turned off, the power to the bus, it would just completely go dormant, shut down, not communicate with anything, and then upload. And then upload once it comes back in. These readers do not. So it is a continuous cycle to where we're not having to deal with lapses in time, lapses in anything like that. So, like, I'm going to be honest with you, our previous vendors, the readers dropped about every 15th read. So that was part of the problem. And then when they didn't have the read, they were trying, like the proximity was very hard. So I am hearing great things about everybody being able to tap. There is not like even my operators are saying because they were hugely upset with our previous vendor. My operators are excited. They come in, they're like, "I love this thing. It's working like you said it would." So absolutely. Am I seeing the accuracy I'm supposed to? Yes. I've been going out myself and tapping just to make sure that it is reading exactly where I got on and where I didn't get on, or where I got on and tapped in. So, and it has been accurate so far for me.
And before I turn my mic off and you start recognizing other people, is there any way that we can just kind of automate the ridership reporting process where, it comes once a month or once a quarter? Because I know that ridership is a huge data point for a lot of our clients where they need to justify up the chain that the money they're spending on transit passes is even worth it. And
Sure.
if they have to ask us for it every month, it becomes more a pain than it's worth.
Oh, I understand. What are you being provided right now, right? Because Mr. Derek is usually the one that provides something to that effect. I can't make promises on his end. I know we are running a very lean and tight ship. So while I'm figuring that out, I need to talk to him because I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I am offering, if you email me, I will send you your ridership. It just may take a little bit.
Yeah, Derek's been pretty good about when we ask, getting that for us. Anika, I see you have your hand up. I'm gonna give you the mic.
Unmute. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that great? Okay, thanks. Thanks for asking those questions, Lonnie. I think some of those were some of the questions I had. Obviously, the data is really paramount to justifying the spend. And I don't know who else is on this webinar, but I know that some of our other colleague employers are spending way more than we are. So I think that Bytemark was really helpful in the fact that we could go in and grab the data ourselves and kind of manage our program while it was administratively, it was a lot of work. We needed to do that to be able to justify the spend. And we still have, Lonnie asked, I don't know what you said about reclaiming the codes. I understand that you can give us a report if we ask for it, which I would also like for it to be automated. I had already asked Derek that question, but what did you say about reclaiming codes? We do give habitual riders monthly passes, but we have a lot of interested transit riders that are trying it for the first time. And so it's not financially feasible for us to give a lot of interested riders $40 or $90 commuter or local monthly passes, and then they don't ride, right? And then that just sits in their account. So we are actually still buying daily passes, which I understand we might be one of the only companies doing that. But I understand that there's some issues with those. We've had some issues with the digital passes. We're not getting a disc. We're not getting a discount on those. So yeah, I would love for you to answer all those questions, please.
So absolutely. So reclaiming. I cannot take a pass out. So once the code's been redeemed, I can take it out, but I can't give you your money back. Does that make sense? So if what you can do is giving you the unclaimed codes, I can give you a list of those. If you're looking for so I mean like that was the question I took away the question the most was how do I reclaim a code? I can remove a pass, but I can't give it to another space, right? Like it it's not a one for one in accounting, so I really can't do that one. Um, your
Can it go
next,
into our bank though? Like with Bite Market, we didn't ask for money back. It just went back into our um like bank of passes. Then I could just give it to another employee.
um, expiring a pass, no, I can't just put it back in your bank, right? Because like there's not an easy function for that in Umo to keep track of that. That would be all manual, and I will have to hire somebody for that, right? So meaning like that's a huge manual ask. There's not a way in Umo to unclaim a code and then like to remove a pass and then give it back. Does that make sense? To put it back in your bank. The only
Yeah,
way
I understand that. I just, yeah, in Bite Mark, we were able to do that, which was also a manual effort on the employee's part or the employer's part that we were manually administrating these programs. And I have to hire a person also to do that on my end. But we were able to do it on our own. So if they're developing functionality for you, if that's something that we could ask for, that the employer is responsible for going into our own account and reclaiming the CAS, and no one has to do it at the transit store.
okay. I will definitely check into that. Thank you. We are also in the future, we were hoping to, right, to move back to that amount of money, right? So I think it would be better, it would probably be easier for you in that capacity. In saying that, what we would like to move to, much like we have right now, at HEB, we sell what everybody thinks is a 7-day pass, but it is really just an amount of stored value, which is the model we have moved to, which is stored value, right? So if your person has only used 500, like 5 days worth, and they've only used so much money, your ability to take it back and put it somewhere else would be a lot easier than just a pass. So, we were hoping to move that way, but since it tends to be easier to issue you all passes, we have stuck with a pass model. But we haven't really discussed further. I mean, I guess that would be a question for you all. Would it be easier to do such, right? We could give you access to the back end of the merchant portal, but there hasn't really been a huge, overwhelming, like, yes, let's do it. So if Alex went in and you gave him 96.25 for a commuter pass, but he only uses $17, do you go back in and refresh up to the 96.25 in case he uses it next month, right? Or do you go back and, you know, adjust your stored value for Alex and take that away versus taking away the pass? Are you ready to see what ridership looks like?
Do you have any other questions, Anika, at the moment?
Sorry, I was on mute. I mean, I think I had a couple questions. I can't remember what they all were, but I prefer that my ridership for our company is actually not shared. So I don't know which
Oh,
companies you're
okay.
sharing.
Here, I will share it for CapMetro in general. No, okay. I'll share it for ACC. How about that? Just so you can see the ridership. This is what it looks like. Can you all see my screen?
Right now,
It's
we're
still
seeing checkout, Square Pay, Google Pay.
Darn it. Okay, let me reshare.
Okay.
Let me reshare. There you go. Try that. Can you see?
Yeah, now we're
now we're
seeing the back end. 9,000 ACC Green Pass.
Right. So the ACC Green Pass this particular month during April was 9,000 ridership. We can split that into local versus commuter if you would like, and how many each pass. It takes a little bit more to get per pass. We can't really do per benefit code, but if you have, it gets harder to do the per person, but we could try to figure it out. Umo just has made it hard for us to search for a person's name, a person's card, a person's. They're trying to protect the PCI in the interim. But we could give you your ridership as far as here's how many people rode, here's how many times they rode. We can also give you as far as your route name. Not that you care what the route name is, but we can tell you how many people rode on which particular one.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think similarly to the ability to reclaim it, at least in my experience managing the MovePass program, it's been helpful to see the person by person, because then sometimes something's going wrong with someone's pass, and it's helpful to go in and see that person's account. So it sounds like maybe down the road, maybe it'll be possible. We'll be on the lookout for that one.
That is what we are hoping for. My first and foremost ask, besides tap to pay, has been asking Umo to allow us to do the bulk upload that you all were so interested in, the ridership reporting in the merchant portal, and the ability to take away certain things where, like, like in the merchant portal. So it has been, hey, we need to be able to see these reports. I need to be able to do bulk upload first and foremost, because going in one by one on that merchant portal is crazy, which is why we have you guys going through Square and we are taking the time to do the uploading, right? Just because a one by one is not, I mean, like, I don't, it's not what you had in Bytemark, so it's not what we want to continue to do. And until Umo makes it a little bit better for us, then we were gonna stick to the Square method with a little bit more manual until we can get the feature set that we would really like to get back to the place with Bytemark. And although so keep in mind, Bytemarks was a very custom set of features that they had put in for us, whereas Umo is, they are trying to be more cookie cutter, but since we are their largest agency, we have been carrying a little bit more weight, right? Because they want to keep us around because we have the largest fleet and the different use cases. So I know that I had the director and VP of client experience from Umo in my office one day, and we spent a good amount of time talking about how first and foremost we wanted our businesses to be able to have what they need, in the forms of what I just told you about.
Great, thank you. So that kind of brings me to our next question, one of our last ones, so I can make sure we have time in case anyone else has any questions they'd like to ask. And I see Anika asked a question. Um, will single day will single day digital passes be added to the employer program so we can get a discount on bulk purchases?
One more time, you were completely breaking up. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, so Anika's question is, will single day digital passes be added to the employer program so that they can get a discount on bulk purchases?
I have not made a determination on that one yet. In fact, the day pass is looking like it might actually go away. So I'm going to pause until we figure out whether or not that's going away, right? We've gone to that whole new model of single ride. So as we decide what that looks like, and how we move forward with, say, our businesses, there are currently not many businesses that actually use the 1 day pass. So I understand the frustration.
So getting to our last couple of questions here. Um, what will CapMetro business look like? What are you kind of, if you look out a little bit further, what does it look like?
What does it look like? Getting you back to what you had first with some improvements. That's what it looks like. That is my first and foremost, right? I kind of feel like, as far as CapMetro for Business, the way you guys got the functionality, it was a step back from what we had with Bytemark, which I mean, that vendor, that having that thing built out for you all was amazing. But we need to get back there before we can imagine what this next step looks like. But also, it's just going to take partnership with you all. Hey, here's how we want to move. Is this going to work for you? How do we facilitate this for you? How do we make this easier for you? Because the goal is not to make everybody's life harder. It's to get everybody riding, right? And how do we do that without having to pay and be manual, right? I would love to get some AI in here. I mean, honestly, I've been trying to do some things to get, all of the UMO data into, sort of like a database so that we can harvest it and make it easier to get that ridership. It's just taken a little bit. So that being said, improvements, that is the wave of the future. I just got to dig out of this hole that I have found in and made you guys frustrated, since we launched UMO.
That leads perfectly into my last question, which is how can business members provide feedback if there's features they'd like to see or added to the program? What's the best way for them to provide that feedback to CapMetro?
Absolutely. Feel free to email Derek and I. I have weekly meetings with Umo, and I can continue to advocate for you all on that side. Derek helps with facilitating and providing you guys with a more of a concierge service. But I don't know that he gets to talk to Allison nearly as much as I do. But if you take the time to tell both Derek and I, we can both advocate for you in those spaces.
Awesome. Does that mean we have permission to share your contact information with the attendees?
Heck yes. Heck
Okay.
yes. Bring it. I'd love to meet everybody. I mean, the more the merrier. I'm game. I will tell you, and I'm just being open and honest about this, my ADHD is off the charts sometimes, so emails kind of kill me. So if you don't hear from me in a couple of days, ping me back. It was not intentional. It is that email sometimes gets me.
No worries. I definitely can relate to that one. So I just want to take a couple seconds to make sure no one has any final questions. Again, feel free to raise your hand. We can call on you or leave a question in the Q&A. All right. Not seeing any hands. Lonnie, are you seeing anything in the chat or nope? All right. Well, you'll know how to get in touch with us. We'll make sure you have Brandy's contact as well. Thank you, Brandy, for being with us and answering questions. It's been informative. And thank you all for attending and asking questions and giving feedback. And we've gotten to this point. There's more road ahead of us, so we're excited.
Thanks, y'all. Nice to meet you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.